Hello and welcome back everyone for another PKIdeas Shorts video, the 8th one for this series and the 7th one for this year. Today what we're going to look at is a game between Mikhail Botvinnik and Lajos Portisch, played in Monte Carlo 1968. So the game started off with the first move, c4. Portisch played e5, afterwards Mikhail replied with knight c3, knight f6, g3, d5, c takes d5, knight takes d5, bishop to g2, bishop e6, knight f3, knight c6, castles, and knight b6. This opening is called the English opening, the four knights variation, with move number 4, g3. What g3 does is that it creates the fianchetto structure over here, where the bishop goes over here aiming to go down this diagonal. And so what Botvinnik played here is he played d3, bishop to e7, a3, a5, bishop e3, castles, knight f4, and knight takes a4. Here in this position, it is an equal game with chances for both sides. What white played was queen takes a4. Here what Portisch played was bishop to d5. Unfortunately, this was not the best move in the position. The best move in the position was to play f5. After f5, the best move for white is rook ac1, continued by rook b8, rook fd1, queen d7, bishop c5, and rook f to d8. In this position, it is also an equal game, and it is better than what Portisch played in the game. And so as we can see in this position, if we break it down, this bishop over here is fianchettoed. Both the sides has the double bishop pair advantage over here, and this position is more likely to go and swap off and go into an endgame rather than a result being decided in the middle game. So therefore we go back to what Portisch played, which was bishop to d5. After bishop to d5, Botvinnik replied with rook f to c1, after which rook e8 was played, rook c2, bishop f8, rook a to c1. Now in this position, what Portisch played was a blunder. And what Portisch played in this position was a blunder. He played knight to b8, double question mark. It is a double question mark because these two rooks right here are doubled and they're both aiming down the c-file. And so we see in the next move that he takes advantage of this position and plays rook takes c7. Now I would like to show you the importance of this game. This rook over here, I will name it in this game to the hog. What the hog is doing in this position is it is cutting off all piece activity all around the king side over here and mainly threatening to attack over here. He is also cutting down activity on the queen side because the rook is attacking over here, and so the queen has to somehow guard it. After this bishop goes, everything in Portisch's position falls apart. So bishop to c6 was played. Other than that, if for example it was white to move here, knight to g5 can be played, after which bishop takes d5 is played, after which once again bishop takes f7 check, and this position is absolutely horrible for black. And so this was what Botvinnik was aiming for by playing rook takes c7. Now we go back to bishop to c6, what Portisch played in this position. After which Botvinnik replied by playing rook 1 takes c6, and then b takes c6 was played. Here in this position you might think, why not play knight takes c6? Well, let's try it. After knight takes c6, rook takes b7 and e4. The position is equal in material, but white is better in position due to the rook on b7 and the advantage of the double bishop pair. And so in this position, even though white had actually swapped the exchange, he still has two pawns to compensate for it, along with the rook on b7 and along with the double bishops. So that's what happens after knight takes c6. Now we go back to the game where bishop b takes c6 was played. After b takes c6, rook f7 was played. Now what I want you to do is after h6, try and find what white played. Okay, so in this position, rook to b7 was played by white. The aim is to open up the diagonal over here for either the white queen or this white bishop. And so queen c8 was played to attack the rook, after which queen c4 check, after king to h8 was played. In this position you might think, well, isn't that too passive? Why not play queen to e6. So queen e6, knight takes e5, queen takes e4, knight takes e4. Here once again, highlighted in red are the pieces that have not moved from the starting position even once. It has been 22 moves already and black still hasn't developed all of his pieces. This is a massive disadvantage. And as you can see here, these pieces can't really develop that much because this pawn is kind of on prey after either rook to c7, and rook to a6 doesn't really do much because he can't move to anywhere else except for here and here, where the squares are already covered by this rook on b7. That's what happens after queen to e6. So after king h8, what was played in the game was knight to h4. Now what I want you to do is to find a forced win for white after queen takes b7. Alright, so have you found it yet? The move is knight to g6 check. Here, as we can see, king h7 is forced. The king can't go to g8 because of the queen on c4. So king h7, and then bishop e4 was played, threatened the discovered attack and the discovered check on the king on h7. Another good thing about bishop to e4 is that it is planning to play knight to e7. After knight to e7, black is kind of forced to play king to h8, where queen to g8 is checkmate. So that checkmate threat is also present in this position. So bishop d6 has to be played to guard on g8. So knight takes e5 check, g6, bishop takes g6, king g7, and bishop takes h6. In this position, black resigned. As you can see here, the pawns that used to exist on these squares for black are now all gone. And the reason that they're all gone is because that the rook on b7 was there all the time, and that is the power of the hog on the 7th. And so you might think, hold on, king takes h6. Well, I'll show you what happens after king takes h6. Queen h4 check, king g7, queen h7, king f8, and queen takes b7. In this position, white is planning to play queen to c7 checkmate, queen takes a8, and then afterwards followed by queen takes b8. So rook e7 is forced to try and stop checkmate, after which queen takes a8 and bishop takes e5, queen takes a5, threatening to play queen check on d8, and this position is absolutely devastating for black. He's down his queen, even though he has a knight and a rook to compensate for the queen. He has only one pawn left in the board. So this game by Botvinnik is an absolutely amazing game where he converted an equal position into a magnificent win by using the most basic of things called the rook on the 7th. Remember, the rook on the 7th rank is a devastating piece, and try to use this in your games. And so if you like that video, please go to the comment section below and ask any questions that you would like. If you haven't already, subscribe to this YouTube channel as more of these videos will be coming out. And please leave a like if you liked the video. And so that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.